Hi, I'm Dan and welcome to another Elements Developer Diary. Now today we've put out another beta of Elements and it seems to be becoming a bit of a tradition that we're trying to keep up, that we do a new video every week to keep you updated, but also put out a new beta release to show you where we're up to and the work we've done in the past week. So today I'm going to go over what's new in that beta. I'm not going to cover everything, but I will highlight some of the fixes and enhancements, and all of this stuff is a direct result of your feedback on the forum. So we've integrated some features that you guys wanted, and we fixed a lot of bugs that you've reported as well. So this flow of publishing these betas, getting the feedback, fixing and iterating seems to be working really well. So let's dive into it. I've got a demo project here, and this is it's an empty project. I've just created a bunch of pages and I've dropped in some resources, so we've got something to work with. So I'm going to put some stuff on the page, and hopefully you can, if you've got the beta, you can learn from this, pick up some tips. If you haven't got the beta, you can still learn from it, and then you'll be even more ready for when you do get the beta. And we are sending out new beta invites every week, but we're trying to keep it to a minimum, because right now we're handling all the feedback that's coming in, and if we send it out to everyone on the list, we're going to get overwhelmed, and that's not what we want, because we won't be able to keep up with all the feedback. So right now we're just, as Elements gets stable and more feature complete each week, we're kind of adding more people to the list, so to just keep it all manageable and keep things flowing and working. Because if we get bogged down with all the feedback and we have to sort through it, file it, work out what is an issue, what isn't, we actually can't do the work to build the product. So right now we're at a good balance where each build is even more stable and things are getting fixed, and that means we can open it up to more people slowly. So if you are on the list, you will get added. Please hang in there. Things seem to be working well at the moment, so do hang in there. Right, so let's get back to this. I've got my blank page, and let's start getting some stuff on the page. So I go to my components tab, and I'm going to drop on a section, because that's how I tend to start a lot of pages, because you often want a banner, something like that on the page. So that's what we're going to do. I've got my banner here, and I think in the last video I talked about I often just crank up the padding here to give me a bit of a view and a bit of something to work with. There is other ways we can do this. There's the height option here. It's currently set to auto, which will stretch to fill the content. Or you can switch it to screen, and that will, boom, it fills the screen with whatever content. So let me drop in an image. So I've gone to the background setting here for the section, and I've switched from color, because I don't want a color, I want an image. I've switched to image. Now I could have a gradient, and we can do a 3-point gradient here. I could have a video, but I'm going to do an image because that's what I've got in my things here. So dropped in the image, and it's full screen at the moment, which is great. Or I can do a custom height. Sorry, that's width. I want it full width, and we can do a custom height on there. So say if I wanted that 600, and you can use any valid CSS values. So you can do things like percentages and vertical height. We do have a note in the docs about this on kind of like the CSS values you can use. So yeah, so if you wanted it to set, a percentage of the vertical height, you could do that. But I'm going to set it to auto and just give myself some padding, because that's what I like to do. But you can do it however you want. Now, this section is also set to full width. So anything we put in here would run to the full width of the browser. So if I put a paragraph in, let me change the text so we can see it. It's going to run full width, and that's not always what you want. So what we've done is, and I think I've mentioned this before, we've added these content sizing options. So instead of being full, you can just, boom, you can switch it to container, and that will just use the container widths that you have set up here. If I make that there, you can see now that's it's contained in. And those are your breakpoints that we've talked about before. They're available in the theme studio. And these are the ones I have set up, and you can turn them on and off, and you can see that changes there and adds them to any ones I want. So let's close that and we'll go back to this. Boom. That's looking good. All right. Yeah, so that so I'm going to leave it on container, and I'm going to drop in a heading. Let's center that. And I go find the color on the text. That's looking good. And we could uppercase it as well. So you can change the case here, uppercase. Awesome apps. And let's change the sizing here. Boom. And these, the font family and stuff are set up in the, in here. So I've got it on heading at the moment, and it's just using Work Sans from Google. But you know, you could you can override this and change it to a font resource or a font name. You know, if you want to use the system fonts, things like that. But we'll leave it at that for the moment. And we're going to override the styles. The styles, again, these are all set up in the theme studio, but we're going to override that, and let's make that chunky. Now, one thing, I'm going to get to the first addition we've added here for you guys, that this is direct feedback. One thing, a lot of people said there's a lot of scrolling in here, and especially on more complex things, you know, there's a lot of settings, especially let's drop in the menu. Let's drop in a menu. And up here, there are a lot of settings here. This is quite a complex component. And one thing you are finding annoying is all the time you have to, you know, if you want to see all the settings, you have to close all these down and then find the one you want. And then over time, they gradually, you know, you've left them all open, stuff like that. So what we've added is a way to collapse them all. So you can quickly see, I can go here, say collapse all, boom. And then you can quickly see all the options there, which is great. And you know, if things get messy again, you can collapse all, or you can expand all, and boom, you can see all the settings, which is great. And that is something that I had wanted for a long time. We just hadn't got around to doing it because, you know, you kind of prioritize what features you add in, and there's more important things than this kind of fine tuning of the UI. So we'd always planned to get that in there, and that was one of the first things you guys said is, we want this to be able to do that. We want to be able to collapse them all. And then I can't remember who it is, but there's a thread on the forum. I should have looked it up, but I didn't. Sorry, whoever you are. You suggested you liked a feature in Lightroom where you could have a single view mode, where you only see one thing at a time, and as you click on them, the others contract and expand. So let me show that to you. We added that feature, and it's great. So this is single group mode, and what that does is you can click through these, and it will just show you the one you've clicked on. And it's for when you've got a lot of settings like this, it's really, really great. So you know, this is a result of your feedback, all this stuff, and it's just making the product better. It takes us time to implement all of this, and we can't implement every suggestion, but, you know, this is, for the workflow, this is absolutely, absolutely great to be able to do this. It's lovely to click through these. So, and then I can switch that off, and I can go back to working like this. So the options are really there on how you want to work, but it's really, really good. So thanks for all the feedback on that. I think you're really going to love this and find it even easier to work with. Good. All right. So that's that one. Let's continue building this page out. I want to, let's add a grid. Let's go here, add a grid. And again, this is the same as the section. Previously, to do this, you would have put in a container first to contain the content, and then popped this in here. Yeah, so then you've got this container and grid, and we don't need to do that anymore. Oops, let's put that under there. We don't need to do that anymore, because on the grid also We have the sizing option, and the width, you can just set it to container as well, and that brings it in. And let's put on a little bit of padding here to give it some space. There is one thing, when I've set this to use the container widths, we need to tell this item to center because it's got no wrapper around it. We need to tell it to center, and the way to do that in CSS is to set the margin left and right to auto, and we have a little note under here to tell you to do that because Elements is the app's very powerful and we're trying to tap through to the raw CSS, and so this little hint, you wouldn't really know this unless you're into CSS, you wouldn't know to do this, so we've put this little hint there to show you that. So you need to set both options to auto, both left and right to auto, and then it centers that grid item. Now, when we get closer to shipping, we will have videos on specific components. So if you want to use a grid, then we'll have a video on that and documentation, and then you can learn about all these settings. And so don't worry if some of this is confusing or you're not sure you'll remember it. We will have proper videos specifically for these things that go through all the options. Right, so I've got my grid there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this lovely media object, which I love this. So quick to just build up these layouts like this, especially, you know, if I'm doing an app website, which apparently I am here, you know, or maybe this is a list of awesome apps, I don't know. Right, on this grid, one other thing I'd like to do, these all seem a little bit tight together, so I'm going to get some spacing in there, and I click this dotted line to link these up together, so if I change one, they both change, which is nice. Let's set that to 10. There we are, that's good, that's got a little bit of space. And let me go off single group mode, expand all, and what we want to do, let me expand all there. What I want to do is we want to drop some images in here, and we can do that on here as well. I could just drop it in there as well, as it understands that this takes an image. Boom, boom, there we go. That's looking pretty good already. Let me expand. These, they remember what options you were on previously. So it saves the state of what you were looking at. So, which is very cool, very handy. So we can, and then these options are even better because then we can just expand them all. Yeah, super. And then we can adjust the size of this image. So we could say 50 if we want to make these smaller. Let's do that. Expand all. And we'll do that there as well. Of course, we could have used globals for this, and I could have created one global and then dragged it around, but I was being lazy, and then I had to do the manual work on each one. But this is where globals kind of really shine, when you've got multiple items laid out the same, and then you can make one change and they all change. Because otherwise you've got to go through and select them and then say, right, well, you know, I want the heading to be that, which is fine. But if you want consistency throughout your page, you probably wanted to do these as globals. But, you know, we're not... we're just kind of messing around today. We're not, you know, I'm not going to use this site per se. So, all right, we'll give this a quick title as well. And for this, I can just drag the heading in here, and I could center it. And I think, you know, let's get a little bit of space there. App features, and we'll make that a bit bigger, and I'll set this to H2. It's already set on H2, but this one up here should be H1, so I'll set that to H1. Now this doesn't change the visual appearance, but it does tell Google, you know, this is for SEO really, that or screen readers that this is the most important title on the page. This is kind of the H1, and then this is like a this here is a subheading. So we'll put that H2. You know. Okay, that is looking pretty good. I can hit this button here to preview it in Safari. So that's, you know, very nice. We've quickly thrown together this page. I'm pleased with that. And I want to show you another feature that we've added. One thing people said on the forum, you guys, I say people, the people on the beta, how do I know what page I'm on? Because I spend a lot of time in these tabs here and I can't tell what page this is. You know, I could call this homepage, but you don't always have that. You don't always have that reassurance of the page. So we've added a little label down here. So as well as showing your hierarchy of your selected item, it also shows you what page you're on. So that's pretty cool. Like I can click through these and you can see this updating here. So I always know what page I'm on. But this title here is also, you can also click on it and then you can navigate to any page you want. So this is a super quick way to just go through, and it supports sub menus and all that. So yeah, it's just really handy. So really, you might never really, unless you're building your page layout or changing these settings, you know, wanting to go through and update things, you might never really go into this pages bit. You can kind of stay over here and work with your pages, you know, that way. So again, that was added as a direct result of your feedback, and it kind of, you know, it was like, okay, well, we need a way to see what page you're on. Fine, we've done that. And then, as with all these features, we try and take it a little bit further, be a little bit smarter, and say, you know, how can we make this really useful? And also in our use, we find, you know, we're using the app, and it's like, oh, actually, I really want to click on that. And yeah, so now it's a quick way to jump to other pages. And just as a reminder as well, this is also clickable. So this media object, you know, I can see I've got that selected, but I want to quickly select the grid, or I want to select the grid item it's in. I can just click on it and it's selected that. So, you know, if I want to go to the grid to quickly change the gap, you can do that. And another way of doing this is to right click and then you can navigate here. So we've added all these little niceties around the UI to make it quick to work with. So you don't always have to go over to here either. But you can do. You know, there's lots of niceties we've added in here. For these media objects, you know, if I wanted to change the heading on all of those, I can right click on this and say select similar. Boom. And it selected all the similar items right there. And then I can go in and, like we did before, and I can change the sizing. So, you know, this is all shaping up to be a very powerful bit of software. And hopefully you can see it's a very thoughtful bit of software that we've just continue to iterate on and build in these great features and just make it lovely to work with. And you know, I'm building this as much for myself as I am for you guys, because I love building websites and I want the best app possible on the Mac to build websites. And that's what it feels like we're building. So I hope you feel the same way too. Just before I wrap this up, because we've been long enough already, there are, like I said, there's lots of fixes and stuff in here. I can't cover everything. There are some handy things. The help menu, we've updated that finally to point to the right places. So we've got the manual, the forum, and YouTube, and you can visit the website. Very handy. Click on the manual. Especially, this is handy, especially if you are looking at custom components. You should familiarize yourself, especially with the properties JSON file. You can learn how to group controls, what controls are available. At the moment, there's not too much documentation, but we have tried to paste in example code on resources is missing. We need to do that one. But we've got example code on all of these pages, so you can kind of see, okay, I want a text field. How do I put that together? You know, okay, a text field, right? I can copy this code snippet. I can come into elements. I can create a custom component, and then I can drop it into the page, go to edit. I bring this up, and then I can paste this into the properties. And if I do that, boom, you can see I've got a text field there. And you can see this property is called my text field. And you can name this anything. So let's just call this, you know, we could call this awesome text. So I can name it like this. And let's copy that. And in my template here, my HTML element, and we do open curly braces. I paste the value in, awesome text of the property name, close that, and then this will take the value from here. So you can see as I type in here, it's updating there, which is pretty cool. So now you've got a little custom component, and it's not a particularly useful one, but it does work. You know, this could be, we could want to make this a link. So let's do that. So I do ahref, and let's close this off. And then my awesome text, let's change this and put this into the href. And I say I'm a link, click me. And this, it currently says text field and awesome text. So let's update this. Let's go to the properties, and let's say this is not a text field. I want a URL. And you'll notice when we're doing this, this all updates live. And you see, this is the subtitle text here. So I'm just giving a hint. So there, and then the default, that is the default when you create the control. So I could do HTTPS in there to give people a bit of a heads up on what to place in. And then let's call this custom URL. So that's the name of the property now. So we need to go and put the property in here. So let's delete this because I've got it over here, and let me drag it back in. And you can see there it's put the default text in for us. And we can also rename this so we know what it is. My URL, and you see it updates it there. So that's the name. So now that's the name of my custom component. And let's give this www.apple.com, and let's go and preview this in the browser. And now if I click this link, it goes to Apple. And there, that's our very own little custom component. Not particularly helpful, but you can see that's one small example that you could start with and start playing around. So I very much got sidetracked there. But so that is the Elements manual link, and you can find lots of good information in there about Elements, and we're updating it every week. So bits and pieces get updated. This is also on GitHub. So if you want to contribute to it, you can do, and we'd appreciate that very much, as it all helps to get the product finished and out there, and helps everyone in the community. So yeah, so you can do that. There's a post on the forum about that. Yes. All right, so those are that, and so those are the links there. And what else do I want to show you? We've also got this send feedback link. So now if you're using the beta, click the send feedback, boom, it opens our forum. Oh, I already had something I was doing. Ignore, look, I've got some, hang on a minute. I've got some open threads. Let me close that. So what we could send feedback, oh, stupid software. This is the forum software. What would you like to do? I'd like to discard it. Okay, that's the forum software being naughty there. So now when you click that link, it opens up a new topic for you, or ready for you to post a new topic in the beta feedback category. And it also puts the build number in here for you. So you can say, hey, I'm using build and I hit a bug. So now you can do that and then say, this is the bug I hit. This is how I made it happen. Can you fix it? So that's great, because then that tells us exactly what version you're using. And I think that'll be increasingly important as Element ships, and more people start using it. So very quick way. So if you've got any feedback on the app or hit some bugs, you can quickly go up here, hit that, and then you'll be straight into the forum. Yeah, very good feature, I think. So that's it for today. Download the beta if you're on the beta list. I'm sorry if you're not and you're still like, give me the software. We will get to you. So yeah, if you want in on the beta, do email me or message me or something. All right, good. I'm going to wrap it up there because the video has been long enough, and I do try to keep these shorter, but once we get into it, there's so much to look at in Elements, I can't help it. Right, that's it. I will see you next week. Have a great week. Cheers. Bye.